evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Sai Bharat. Electrostatics 4. Until now, we talked about charge, electric charge, charge quantization, charge conservation. Remember, charge conservation as an idea is going to be very, very powerful. That's what you're going to apply in the problems. I want to just mention something to you here. It so happened in the recent past, in the last 10 years, the material, study materials are important, believe me, but the materials have taken the place of understanding, teaching, concepts, teacher, student, everything, which is not correct. So people have gotten into an impression that in the very first class, you need to give some formulas, talk something, call it concept, which I call as filler. Filler is something which fills the things in the middle, and then start immediately the problems. Actually, they are not doing problems, believe me. They are doing exercise at the most. Exercise and problems are different. Exercise is straightforward thing. You've got some formula, even if you don't know the meaning of it, you can simply plug in the values for in the equations and get something out of it. A problem is completely different, believe me. So if you really want to do problems, if I start at some good level of, say, Irido or Olympiad, you won't be following it, believe me. You cannot. Or at the most, you'll get into a habit of remembering the solution. Even that won't work. Ultimately, what you require is, after all that, whatever we have done, given 10 tough problems, that's what I call as 10 problem test. The 10 problem test is this. You are given 10 problems, unknown, unseen, not unknown, unseen. Out of that, 5 you get within the given time, you're going to be an IIT. Believe me. This is my 10 problem test I do for people. But to go to that level of problem solving, you need to start from the basics. This is very, very important. Just starting in the beginning itself to impress you people, I'll give some questions and make them appear something great because even I copied the solutions previously from somewhere. No. Even for me also, if you want, if I say, if somebody says Srikanth sir is a good IIT JEE physics teacher, whatever 10 problem test I told you to apply is to me also. Like some 10 new questions come, I should be able to do at least 7 in the given time. If the students are able to do 5, I should be able to do 7. And if somebody says I'll do all 10, don't believe. Because the time will be an issue. So whole goal is to make you do some good problems, basically, for which I have a method. I have a method which I perfected over the years after teaching some very, very good students. They really tested my capacity. And I allowed them to be tested. I allowed them freedom to talk in the class. All right. So don't get into a wrong impression that sir has not started problems. It's easy. You bring me the best student, I'll break his confidence by giving a problem which he cannot do. Do you know that? It's not the question of breaking confidence. It is the other way around, improving your confidence. So if you go in a proper way, you will become good without you knowing that you become good. Because every time a quasi-static process happens, quasi-static, I don't know whether you know, in thermodynamics, there's a process called quasi-static. It happens slowly, but the state changes from one state to another state over a period of time. That's what physics is about, and that's what any sciences are about. That's what learning is about. All right. So don't get into any wrong feeling that, sir, you're teaching theory, but will you do problems? What is this? Theory problems are all based on one idea. That is the ideas in physics. Like I told you, the charge conservation. Charge conservation is a tool first you should remember. You cannot just do 10 problems and say there's a charge conservation, right? Good. Yeah, it is correct. After applying only the real meaning of a basic comes, but without even knowing what is charge conservation, you cannot just do problems, believe me. So just allow me to do the way I want, right? Devarchit, do you understand? Just allow me the way I do it. And believe, just after 1 month, for example, you'll start thinking, okay, this is what I should do, or I should have been doing in first year also, you'll think. So physics actually requires that kind of patience. You cannot simply hurry up. And physics is one thing, if you're ready, I can do all the IITJ physics in 1 month only. Do you know that? Like if you and me are on the same page of talking fundamentals and doing things, our languages match, 1 month is enough for me. One of the parents was asking me after this online classes whether I can help her child or his child in doing the FIITJEE problems there, which I never do. Not because I cannot do, or not that I don't want to help a student. Definitely, the moment I start opening my mouth and talk, the child loses confidence. Why? Sir, I don't know this. We were not taught this. What do you mean by that? This kind of questions keep coming. The reason is the total game has changed to teachers pretending to do problems by remembering their solutions. You don't know that. Do you know that? They're pretending to show you problems, but they actually copy it from guidebooks, the solutions. And they sing the solutions and you feel you are doing problems. It's not going to work. I will make you do problems here, believe me. Like I'll prod you, I'll nudge you, I'll push you to do the problems here. Even on the online, just don't worry. It's like a regular class for me. It doesn't make a big difference. And that too, in my cool atmosphere here, my house is in a very big, around trees, so many. It will be always very, very cool. So I don't feel tired if people are responding. The temperature is low, 1 degree low than outside. And you're at home. So there's no, I can just take coffee in the middle. You can take coffee in the middle and cool, just sit back like this and talk to me. Then things will happen. Do you follow? Children, Anshuman, Devarchit,
Yes, sir.
and who else? Ramya, Manasa. No, I was happy because children are responding here, because that's a good thing. Okay, let me start. Today's lesson is, children, now we are starting this Coulomb's law or Coulomb's law, whatever you want to say. That's not a big deal. Okay. Yes. Now, look at this. The force of attraction or repulsion. The force of attraction or repulsion between 2 point charges. Actually, between is a wrong word, because there's nothing like force standing between the two charges. The force of attraction or repulsion, 1 point charge applies on another point charge. 1 point charge applies on another point charge at some distance from it. Is directly proportional to what? The product of the magnitudes of the charges products of the magnitude of charges, and is inversely proportional to what? Square of the distance between them. I deliberately wrote so much. This is the whole statement in words, right? In mathematical form, you write magnitude of the force. I wrote, actually speaking, proportional to Q1, Q2, inversely proportional to R square. All right. I'll continue. But in the middle, you got to say something, raise your hand. And until then, you mute your audios, raise your hand, and I'll give you the opportunity to talk to me. Come on. Yes, Devachit.
Sir, could you read from magnitudes of, sir?
Amma?
In the definition, could you read after magnitudes of, sir?
Yeah. Magnitudes of charges. This is charges. And
Thank you, sir.
And is directly inversely proportional to the, this is proportional to the square of the distance between them. This is inverted commas. So if he is proportional to Q1, Q2, inversely proportional to R square. All right. Devachit. Devachit,
Yes,
Parashara,
sir.
your name? What is your name? Devachit?
Yes, sir,
Parashara.
that's my name. Yes, sir,
Okay.
that's my name.
Okay. So F is proportional to Q1, Q2, inversely proportional to R square. Now, I'll change the screen, children. That is, F is proportional to Q1, Q2 by R square if I combine. Then, if I remove the proportionality constant, F equals K Q1, Q2 by R square. The magnitude form I wrote. Here, the side Y, I'll write the vector form. This vector form actually gives a lot of meaning. Now, plus Q1. If I write in vector form, I should mention with a plus or minus. Here, there's no information about whether the charges are plus or minus. It could be minus, it could be plus, but I wrote only the magnitudes here, children. Now, there is another charge plus Q2 here. You need to consider the force of Q1 and Q2, for example. Then you will take the origin at Q1, O, and R bar will be a vector in this direction, right? I'll just make it better. So this is the direction of R bar, children. R bar is a position vector, right? It will be always from the origin, starts from the origin and goes away from the origin, right? Now force on Q2 by Q1 vector sign is equal to, look, K plus Q1 plus Q2 R cap by R square. What is R cap, children? This is mod R into R cap. Is okay? Even this, if you did not do previously, if you did not follow, you tell me. Right. So R F bar on Q2 by Q1 is equal to K plus Q1 plus Q2 R bar by mod R cubed. This is what you mean by the vector form. Whereas this is only the magnitude form. In the vector form, the direction is automatically given. Look, direction of F bar and R bar are same, or direction of F bar and R cap are same, which means it implies this force is repulsive. For example, one of them had been minus Q2. If minus Q2 is there, I'll write F bar equals, F bar means what? By Q1 on Q2 will be, I'll write with a sign once again, plus Q1 minus Q2 R cap by R square. Now minus R cap is which way? This way. So the force is attractive. Hoping your maths is decent. I thought you followed it. If you did not, you tell me now. This is a vector form. Ramya, Manasa, Rishita, and who all?
Yes, sir.
And what is that fellow? Sai Bharat. Tell me, children.
Sir, it is repulsion because both the charges are positive.
Isn't it so? It's obvious,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But that's okay, ma. That's not the point. The point is, are you catching it in a mathematical way?
Yes,
Rishita?
sir. Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
plus Q1 plus Q2. This sign of this force is what, dear? Plus R cap, right?
Yes, sir.
So plus R
Yes.
cap is where? Away from O. So plus Q1 is
Mhm.
pushing plus Q2 away.
Oh, yes, sir. I got it.
Right?
Hello,
Now
sir.
here,
Hello.
the sign of force is what, Rishita? Minus R cap, right?
Negative. Yes, sir.
Towards Q1. So here it doesn't tell you. Here you will say, if they are plus charges, they are repelling. If they are minus charges, sorry. If they're like charges, they are repelling, and if they're unlike charges, they're attracting. You will say in words. Here you do not have to say that in words. The mass will take care of it.
I got it, sir.
Yes, Rishita?
Yes, sir. I got it.
Good. And others, children? Yeah, that's nice. Speak and mute. That's good.
Hello, sir.
Sai.
So in the two cases, you said that Q1 is acting, the force Q1 is acting upon Q2, no, sir?
Q2. So do the reverse. Do the reverse, but in that case, you'll take Q2 as origin and write the force on Q1.
Then it will be negative.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Same thing will repeat for Q2. You'll take this as origin, put R away from Q2, write the force on Q1. So that equation will tell you whether Q2 is attracting or repelling.
In the second case, why did we get R cube?
Yes. Look, this is R cap, right? This is R bar. And look, Ramya, R bar is what? Mod R into R cap. So if I wrote mod R into R cap here, mod R goes, mod R cube will be cancelled. One mod R goes. It becomes R cap by R square. Isn't it? Emma?
Yes, sir.
Look at this. Here, this I'll write separately. I'll write separately here somewhere. Just a minute. Look, this R cap by R cube, here R bar by mod R cube. When I write, that will be mod R cap by mod R cubed. So it becomes what? Mod R by R square. So because I wrote R cube, don't say it's a cube force, inverse cube force. No, it is inverse square because this is the full vector R. This is only R cap, and we wrote R bar is mod R into R cap.
So what is the difference between the third case and the second case, sir?
Third
It's
case
written
means
on Q2 by
this
Q1,
one.
and in the here it's written by Q1 on Q2.
Are the same thing, beta. On Q2 by Q1 by Q1 on Q2. Same thing I wrote, no? Only English I changed. By on Q2 by Q1 by Q1 on Q2. Same thing.
I mean the second and third one, sir.
On Q2 by Q1 by Q1 on Q2. Same thing.
They're the same thing.
On Q2 by Q1 on Q2. What is the difference? Only English, right?
Yes, sir. So why did we get minus Q2?
Because I've got, supposing I had minus charge here, I told you. Supposing.
Okay.
I did not draw another figure to save time. Here I put no, I was using my language here without writing. For example, in the place of plus Q2, had there been a minus Q2. So that's why I wrote minus Q2. So the moral of the story here is, Ramya, when you're writing in vector form, write it along with the sign of the charges, and the vector equation tells you the direction of force.
Okay.
You understand my point?
Yes.
So if you want, you can make a note of it, like note. When we write in vector form, when we write in vector form carry the signs of the charges. Carry the signs of the charges. The equation tells you the magnitude and direction together. So this form is only magnitude. You need to tell in words that they are attracting or repelling. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Children, believe me, don't worry about the syllabus, time, all that. That is already going on in your places. That whole system is like, if you do things for yourself in a big way, we have no problem. But if you don't do, that is your fault, they'll say. Because in thousands of people, all the time some good people will do it. So they'll say because of us you've done it. But if you say, sir, I could not do, oh, no way, they have done, why did you not do? That's your mistake. So that's not the system here. And physics, one way is easy. Only thing is you should know the culture of it. You develop it in a small way now. After once that lesson is over and once you start solving problems, even if every heading I'll give you problems, but problems, I told you there's a difference between problems and exercise. It's not just plugging in the numerical values in the equation. That's not a problem. It's exercise. That will introduce you to what you call the ideas. But problem is all the time troublesome, believe me. So once you get into the culture of doing physics, time is not an issue, believe me. I told you, I can summarize the whole JEE physics in a very thorough way in 6 to 7 hours. Not 1 month. But in 1 month, I can as well make it very very exam oriented. So it is not a, what you call it, vertical superposition, I say. You learn from what you do better today because you learned yesterday properly. Not some horizontal putting this one, that one, 10,000 problems. No, it doesn't work. Believe me, it doesn't work. It is science. Okay. So the way you're talking now, you keep talking. We'll see how in a small of time of 15 days, you start thinking in a different way. I'm telling you, chemistry becomes easy. Your chemistry becomes easy. I'll show you that. Your organic chemistry becomes easy if you understand this electricity properly, if you can connect it up. And remember, a lot of physics, so for example, of course, I'm not doing first year to you, the nuclear physics, for example. If you do, once you do that, your chemistry looks really meaningful. Whereas in many times you remember chemistry there. Whereas in physics, you understand it. Why you did something in chemistry, that meaning will come in physics. And thermodynamics, you do properly here, your thermodynamics there becomes easy. So it has got even that spillover effect, not just physics alone. I think, Ramya, are you from CBSE previously? CBSE 10th class?
Yes, sir. 10th I was
Huh?
in 10th I was CBSE, sir.
CBSE only, yes. So the same, those CBSE schools are not doing great nowadays, but the whole CBSE culture is that you should carry to your 11th and 12th. Then things will be good. Okay then. Now, is it clear to you, children? When we write in vector form, carry the signs of charges. The equation itself will tell you whether the force is along R bar or opposite to R bar. And you know where you take this R bar? From here. And this is the meaning of a central force, Ramya. What is this?
Central force.
Central force. That is a force which is acting along the line joining the two particles and will be either away from the origin or towards the origin.
Yes.
And this central force has got few properties. For example, first property is that R cross F is 0. What is R cross F, children? R cross F, Ramya?
Sir?
What is R cross F? torque. The force is along R. If torque is 0, angular momentum is constant. And in such central forces, there's a third property called U plus K is constant. So this is what you mean by the basic. Remember, these are the three keys you keep applying in problems of electrostatics, gravitation put together. So this is what you mean by learning ideas. These are the basic principles of nature, and this will be applied to solve problems. So it's not that you listen to the sequential logic in a problem, like how one steps come from the previous step is not actually problem solving. That goes under manipulation. How to manipulate the thing, that's also an important thing, of course. But in physics, you require very small maths. Don't worry that you require big maths in this. 11th and 12th physics requires linear equations, quadratic equations, some small integration, and then differentiation, and some kind of square roots, Pythagoras theorem. School maths you require. You don't require high-level maths. Okay. Now I've done it on the sidelines here. Just I wanted to show you that this formula, this can be written like this. Now, and once again, remember that will be used in problems. It's not just given just for that, right? Now, I'll come back to the value of K here. K depends upon 1. Tell me the system of units. And then on the medium. Okay. In CGS system, for vacuum or air, I'll tell you how both can be taken. K equals 1. So F equals Q1 Q2 by R square. Here remember, R will be in centimeters, R in centimeters, Q's in ESU, electrostatic units, and F in dynes. This is the CGS model. Okay. But in SI system, in MKSCS system, I'll change the screen, children. Actually, are you looking at the videos again? We are sending you the links. Your emails you need to keep watching, looking at now. Because as I told you, this is definitely, we'll talk in a very, very elaborate way, and as well in a very, very scientific way and in a very correct way. So if we are not used to that, in the beginning, it looks very formidable. And you start saying, oh, okay, sir, this theory is all right. Why don't you do this problem, that problem? I'll be making children do hundreds, thousands of problems, especially, for example, these students who are writing this exam now, and because it is getting postponed. In the last 2 to 3 months in physics, I made them do some thousands of multiple choice questions and subjective questions, not hundreds. But me and they understand each other's language there. So it's only just giving a problem and then doing it. So to go to that level, we need to go like this, one after the other, in a systematic way. Okay. Now, can I change the screen, children? Ramya?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now in SI system, or we call it MKSCS system. In MKSA, meter, kilogram, second, ampere system, for vacuum or air, K is 9 into 10 to the power 9 there. So F equals 9 into 10 to the power 9 Q1 Q2 by R square. Pavan Bassavar Okay, 9 to the power 9 q1 q2 by r square. Here the units of q1 and q2 are units of q1 q2 are coulomb, and r will be in meters, right? And F will be in newtons. So first I'll define a coulomb. Look, if q1 equals 1, sorry, q1 equals q2 and r equals 1 meter, F will be 9 into 10 to the power 9 newtons. Then charge on each of them is defined as 1 coulomb, is called 1 coulomb. That means in words, if somebody wants to put, it will be like this. If two equal like charges placed at a distance of 1 meter in vacuum repel each other with a force of what? 9 into 10 to the power 9 newtons, then charge on each of them is called 1 coulomb. Charge on each of them is called a coulomb. So that's how you define 1 coulomb. All right, Pavan Basavar, where are you from? Yeah, I've already seen you. Yeah, face. Yeah, but you joined late today. Why? If you are joining late, no problem. But I want you to look at the video later. The links are being sent to you through the emails.
Yes, sir.
So I want you to give time to yourself. Or when you're eating also, you can put it in front of you and just keep listening to it.
Yes, sir.
After a few days, you'll start thinking like I am expecting you to think and I am thinking. And you'll also do a problem exactly the way I do it. That's when we can say that the wavelengths are matching. Okay. Now, if two equal like charges placed at a distance of 1 meter in vacuum repel each other with a force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 newtons, the charge on each of them is said to be 1 coulomb. Right? Right. Now I'll continue, children. Anything here? Devarchit, Ramya, and who is that? The other girl, Rishita, and Rebecca is not seen today. And then the boys, Sai Bharat, Anshuman. Come on, children. Are you okay with all this definition of a coulomb?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then I'll continue. Now look at even here how things are different from what you've been doing in the regular classes. I put directly for vacuum, it is 9 to 10 to the power 9. Okay. But to rationalize the units, people did something. To rationalize the units. We write, or people wrote, the scientist wrote actually, F equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 q2 by r square. Here 4 pi is introduced so that somewhere in future formulas, future relations, 4 pi gets cancelled. Like for example, in Gauss law. So I'm not going to start saying 1 by 4 pi epsilon, its value is 9 10 to the power 9. Let me tell you, from experiment, people know it is 9 10 to the power 9. They adjusted this to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. And epsilon 0 is called permittivity of vacuum. Permittivity of free space or vacuum. Okay, its value is 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12. Look, epsilon 0, you take the ref comes here. The units will be coulomb into coulomb, coulomb square by Newton meter square. This is adjusted to so that 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 becomes so much. And epsilon 0, meaning of epsilon 0 is what? The permittivity, electrical permittivity in general, tells you how the medium affects the electric field, or how, to what extent the field can penetrate. The capacity to enter into the medium is called permittivity. Okay, so for different media it is different, because when you place two charges in a medium, the force on them, force they apply on each other, okay, so what did I say? Just a minute. This epsilon 0, yeah, the ability of the electric field to penetrate into the medium is characterized by this permittivity here. Every medium has a different permittivity. Once you place two charges in a medium, one charge affects the other depending on what it does to the charges in the medium. So they come into the picture there. So every medium will have its own way of influencing the electric field. That's why this epsilon 0 comes here. That is 8.85 10 to the power minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. All right. Now, this is for vacuum. But for a medium, F equals 1 by 4 pi just epsilon Q1 Q2 by R square. This is epsilon. Here epsilon is called permittivity, electrical permittivity of the medium. This epsilon 0 is the permittivity of vacuum. This is permittivity of the medium. So there's one more formula. But people define, but by defining epsilon r as epsilon r equals epsilon by epsilon 0, we write epsilon equals epsilon 0 epsilon r. Therefore, the force now becomes 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 epsilon r Q1 Q2 by R square in magnitude form. This epsilon r is called relative permittivity. Later, we'll also call it dielectric constant. Also called dielectric constant. Tell me, children. Any questions, children, here? Anshuman, Ramya, Manasa, Rishita, Parashara. Come on. Children, are you there?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Speak
sir.
to me.
So permittivity.
Emma? Hello?
Can you explain permittivity, sir?
Yeah. Look, I told you already. Permittivity is, it will tell you how electric field is affected by the medium. Gravitational field, was not affected by medium. Whether you place two masses in the air or in water, it was not changing. Like for example, F equals G m1 m2 by r square we had. This G is same everywhere, Amma, Rishita. But that is not the case with
Yes, sir.
electric charges. I'll show you. If you wrote it, I'll just go to the next page and tell you the meaning of it. Yeah, that's one question Rishita was
I wrote
asking.
it, sir.
Yeah. And others, any other question, children? I will address it in the next page. All right. Let me continue. Look. I'll tell you. Now there are two charges, Q1, Q2. They were in vacuum. Say the force was, for example, 800 newtons. Now, put the two charges at the same distance but in water. Now, you'll find the force to become 100 newtons. That means this is a case where you'll say that the force is affected by the medium. Medium's electrical properties, children. Slowly, you'll know the meaning of why medium affects. But remember, in the medium, there are charges and they will affect the whole thing, basically. Here, you define epsilon r as force in vacuum divided by force in, 800 water is 80. So it will become 10 newtons. Let me say it is 10. So this will be 80 for water. What it says is, if charges are in there, in vacuum, the force is more, but the moment I put it in water, it becomes less by so much. And this is what you call the relative permittivity of water. So by measuring forces in different media, you define this constants called permittivity. Rishita.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Right. So, yes, so final formula we wrote is F in a medium, force in a medium will be always written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 epsilon r q1 q2 by r square. Okay. Now look at this. Epsilon r for air will be nearly equal to 1. The reason is this. Epsilon r is defined as epsilon of air by epsilon of vacuum. People found that epsilon air is approximately equal to epsilon r. Therefore, epsilon 0. Epsilon r is nearly 1. So in future, when we say air or vacuum, we just take it with a synonymous meaning. All right. But in some other medium, you should write like this. If medium, I can write as this whole thing is in what? Vacuum. So F in vacuum or air by epsilon r. The way I told you is this one here. Devarchit, any question?
No, sir.
Yeah, we'll go on. Yeah, Pavan, tell me.
Epsilon naught is a greater value.
Epsilon naught is?
In which medium epsilon naught value is greater?
Epsilon naught is in vacuum, children. That's not of any medium. Epsilon is mediums. So the ratio of epsilon to epsilon r will be called a dielectric, epsilon r. That will be some in numbers, few numbers, 6 for example for glass, 80 for water. What it means is epsilon R is 80 for water, right? It means that epsilon of water is 80 times epsilon 0. Is it like that? No. I'll write again. 80 equals epsilon water by epsilon 0. So that's what I mean by epsilon water is equal to 80 times epsilon 0. So epsilon 0 is of what? Vacuum. So what it says is, since this epsilon is in the denominator, what it says is force will become 1 by 80 once you place them in water. For example, for glass, epsilon R of glass will be 6, for example. What it means is, if you place the two charges in the same distance in glass, the force becomes 1/6. So epsilon 0 is of only vacuum, children, here. Now tell me, Pawan.
Sir, its value is fixed.
Epsilon
No.
R's value?
Is it fixed?
Epsilon R's value, you are saying? Value of epsilon
correct,
R, are you saying? Epsilon R or epsilon 0? This
Epsilon
one?
0.
It's fixed. Why? That's what we told. No, look at this. Go there. Here. This is 9 in 10 to the power 9 is written as what? 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Huh?
Okay, sir.
Pawan. I did not get your doubt, child. Tell me once again, actually, why epsilon R should be changing, you think?
No, sir. Its value is same.
No, we are defining it only for vacuum. No, so why will it be say? Why should you say it should be same or different?
For vacuum, it's same, no?
That's what the child epsilon 0 is for the value of vacuum's permittivity. So it will be as it is. Nothing will change, right? You already defined it for vacuum, right? So why will it change? What do you mean by changing it?
Then for other mediums?
Other mediums,
Like
we got epsilon. Other mediums, in the place of epsilon 0, you should write epsilon, but that is also written in terms of epsilon 0, epsilon R. Look, I'll just summarize it for you. Pavan. It is like this. F equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square in vacuum or air. Okay. 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Don't write epsilon 0. Epsilon in medium. All right. This is epsilon. This is epsilon 0. Both are different. But we are connecting this epsilon to epsilon 0 here. So F in medium equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 epsilon R Q1 Q2 by R square. This is the summary. Now tell me. Yeah, somebody was raising a hand. Who was it? Now tell me, Pawan.
Okay, sir.
And others, children?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, here in itself, in this simple formula only, there are some scores of problems, believe me. Not scores, hundreds I can say, just based on Coulomb's law. But every piece of information, 1, 2, 3, all that should be clear. So this epsilon 0 is permittivity of vacuum. This is for the medium. But the same thing, epsilon is written as epsilon 0, epsilon R. This epsilon is equal to epsilon 0, epsilon R. This is the ratio. Look, the epsilon 0 and epsilon have units, but epsilon R has no units. Why? These two will have the same units. Units will get cancelled. You only get a ratio. And that ratio was given in terms of forces, children, here. Epsilon r is F air by F medium. All right. So just based on this, some exercise will be done, of course, not problems. So can I believe that you followed this clearly now, everybody? Anshuman,
Yes, sir.
are you there? Okay. So even the summary, I was putting it up there. And we wrote units, but we also should write the dimensions of epsilon. Epsilon or epsilon r, epsilon 0 doesn't matter. Not this r, I'm not writing by here. Epsilon 0 has no units, no dimensions, only a ratio. But these things, how would you write the dimensional formula? Even that is very important for exams. Especially even in IIT Advanced, also some questions can be set like this in the multiple matching. Okay, let me take this one. If I take it that side, F comes here, right? Epsilon equals 1 by 4 pi into F into Q1 Q2 by R square. So the dimensional formula, when you write, it will be Q1 Q2 AT into AT. Do you know why AT, children? Tell me. If you don't know, I'll tell you. MLT minus 2 into L square. That will be A square T square by MLT minus 2 L square. So it goes up, everything you write down. No L cube here, right? So M L to the power minus 3 if it goes up, M to the power minus 1, right? T square going up becomes T plus 2. So T to the power 4. And then what do we have? A square. So this can also be a question somewhere. You should know, you cannot remember these things, you know, you should know how to write it. How can you remember some hundreds of dimensional formulas? Tell me, Devarchit. You should be able to get it from a given known formula. Is a calculation right? You tell me. Why Q is 80, do you know? I equals Q by T, right? Unit of I is ampere, so that A is taken as a dimension. A equals Q by T if you write. Q equals 80. Okay? But see whether the calculation is simple. Pavan Basavar. All right. I'll change the screen. So, but you have not asked me one question, children. I've told you this 4 pi is a rationalizing constant. And here 4 pi is introduced so that somewhere in the future formulas, relations, 4 pi gets cancelled. This is very important for us. 4 pi is a rationalizing constant is one statement people keep saying, but probably people are not very clear about what it means. Look, I don't know to what extent you've done your syllabus and in what kind of batches you are. There's a thing called Gauss's law, for example. In that, we write integral E bar dot dA is equal to Q enclosed by epsilon 0 comes. That's because it was already taken 1 by 4 pi in our previous formula. Did you do this one by any chance? If you did it, I'll explain it. Otherwise, but remember, we would have had some 4 pi business here if 4 pi was not put in the Coulomb's law first. That was the main idea of saying this statement here. This is 4 pi is a rationalizing constant. That somewhere else we will see that this gets cancelled and formulas look simple. In the CGS system, that was the issue actually. 4 pi used to come everywhere. So people thought, why to have this 4 pi? Let us put 4 pi in the beginning itself for Coulomb's law. After that, it won't appear. That is the meaning of the rationalizing constant. In our time, we used to read some very great books of electricity magnetism written by great scientists and authors in CGS system. That was a real pain because formulas looked all the time unwieldy. But once this 4 pi is brought here, then it just disappeared in every other place there. Okay, that's what you mean by rationalizing it. Tell me, children, are you okay with the whole thing? Hello, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then one more small idea I'll introduce before we close for today. Once all these things are defined, of course, there will be numericals on this I'll be doing tomorrow. But just one important idea I'll tell you here. Principle of superposition of forces. Principle of superposition of forces. An idea, you need to catch it. If I write it in mathematical terms, it will be like this. F net I'll write if you want. F resultant I can write is equal to F1 bar plus F2 bar plus F3 bar plus F4 dash 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 like this. What is it? I have an assembly of charge, for example. I have an assembly of charges. Assembly of charges like this. Plus Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 minus Q4 minus Q5 plus Q6 plus Q7, like this, an assembly of charges I have. I want to find out the force on, say, for example, on plus Q7. So Q7 is acted upon by all of them, Q1, Q6, Q3, Q minus Q4 plus Q2 minus Q5. So what we do is we find out the force on Q7 due to all other charges there and add them vectorially. What is the idea there? Like plus Q7 is there. When I find the force on Q7 due to Q1, I'll think that all these charges are not there. And then if I find the force on Q7 due to minus Q5, I'll think these charges are not there and find the force, Q1, Q2 by R square formula. Like that, I'll find out the force on Q7 due to all other charges individually and then add them vectorially. That's what you mean by principle of superposition of forces. Like another idea here is, I've got Q7 first, for example. I brought Q1. A force is applied by Q1 on Q7. I bring minus Q5. The net force on Q7 changes, but nothing will happen to the force between these two. The forces will act independently of each other. Like when I bring Q1, I have got plus Q7 first, then I brought Q1 here. Q1 applies a force on Q7. I brought minus Q5. Q1 will act upon Q7 as if minus Q5 has not come. Minus Q5 also acts in a similar way. Therefore, we add up the forces on Q7 due to all of them individually and then add them vectorially. This is what we mean by the principle of superposition. So this is the beginning for a wide variety of problems based on Coulomb's law. Do you follow my point? This will be attracting, this will be repelling, this will be repelling, this will be repelling, this will be attracting, this will be repelling. So all these forces, some F1, some F2, some F3, some F4, some F5, for example, and then F6. So all these forces will be added up following the laws of geometry, that is laws of vectors. You cannot add forces, what? Like numbers. So this is one main idea in applying Coulomb's law. Right? So based on this and Coulomb's law, I'll be doing number of exercises more than problems right now. Depending on your response, I'll push you towards problems. Right? Is it all right, children? Okay. For today, I'll be ending the session. Are you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow we'll come back at 9 o'clock again. All right. End the show. Stop the share.